Hi, I'm Byron. I'm here to talk to you today about my submission ShockNet for the Graph for All challenge. And I focused on the Graph for Better Finance problem statement. I was interested in the idea of crises passing from country to country, and I chose to interpret that as economic shocks being passed from country to country. And I imagined a tool where a policymaker could investigate whether a shock would spread to a country or sector that they wish to protect. And the tool I came up with is ShockNet. ShockNet uses data from the Global Trade Analysis project to figure out the links between different industries, and it allows us to sort of run some what-if scenarios. So imagine you're a policymaker in Guatemala and you want to know whether a supply shock to Saudi Arabian oil that's just started is going to affect your country. We can run that analysis. So we can see the shocks transferring from country to country and eventually ending up in Guatemala. So I click on there and I can see that basically the oil imports from Saudi Arabia are quite critical to the Republic of Korea's petrol production and hence their chemical production and hence their textile production. And Guatemala imports and then basically reuses in textile production quite a lot of those Korean textiles. And textile production is 10% of Guatemalan exports. So a policymaker in Guatemala might find this information useful so that they can take steps to protect that industry and try and save some jobs. Another thing we see in this effects view is a list of all of the chains of shocks to countries, ordered by the longest chain, as we feel that these will be the most surprising and the most interesting to go and check out. And if you click on a chain, you'll be able to see its details. So that's one way that we can use ShockNet. And another way that we can use it is in a horizon scanning mode. And this mode allows a policymaker to defend against potential future shocks to the industries that they care about. So if they know that the wearing apparel sector is critical, then they can ask what shocks might come and affect it in the future. And they'll see all of the different chains of shocks that could spread and cause a crisis in their industry. And down below, we've categorized which shocks are actually transferred locally to Guatemala. So those are the things that they might be able to do something about. And it shows the value of the flow and the potential impact that eliminating the flow might have on preventing future crises. Here it tells us that the majority of shock chains reaching wearing apparel come via imports of textiles. So if we can reduce the dependency on that input, then we can isolate ourselves from a lot of potential future shocks and hence avoid crises in the future. And the final page we have is the groups analysis page, which shows which country groups are tightly intercoupled with each other. They will basically pass shocks to and from each other via their critical industries. And the results of that analysis show us that under the current assumptions, we have two closely related groups. Western Europe actually turns out to be quite tightly coupled, but also with Mexico and China and Southeast Asia, which is interesting. So if policymakers in these countries know they're closely related, then they can avoid harmful policies that might spread crises to each other.